So in today's webinar, Unconventional Ways to Boost Your GPA Over the Summer, my name is Jennifer O. I'll talk more about myself in a second. But to do that, to talk about the unconventional ways to boost your GPA, I'll provide different sections of information. In other words, the context. Why are we even talking about boosting GPA? What's the need to? Second, reevaluating our understanding of GPA. Maybe we don't understand, maybe our GPA, what we thought GPA meant was slightly off. And three, some traditional and unconventional ways to boost the GPA and how Elite can help in our final Q&A session. Okay, so a brief intro about me. This is my family. The last, I think this was, we got the Disney pass right before.
Oh, sorry, Jen, we're not seeing your screen.
No?
No.
Oh my gosh, we haven't been seeing my screen the entire time?
That's okay.
Let me go back. I thought I shared, oh yeah, I did not share screen with you. Hold on. Thank you so much.
No problem. Want to make sure we're getting all that presentation goodness.
You know what? we ran through this and then I stopped sharing my screen.
I know, I told you to stop. It's my fault.
This is what happened. It's all Jason. Everybody good? Can you see?
There we go. Now we're cooking. Yep. Thank you.
All right. So these are our topics. No, where are we? Hold on just one second. Apologize for the delay. All right. So now I will move on directly to where I was before, is an introduction about me. This is a photo of my family. Right before the pandemic hit, we were at Disneyland, the first time my children ever have been to Disneyland. And this happened to be, this is right before all of this chaos started happening. And but I've been with Elite since 2006, and all in San Diego in two different branches, one in Carmel Valley for for more years than at Rancho Bernardo, but I've been at Rancho Bernardo since 2016. I've helped hundreds of students gain admission into really top universities, to the UCs year after year. And it continues to inform me about the college landscape, but since, spanning thousands of students just advised, or hundreds of students that I personally helped with apps, the admissions has changed so much. But thanks to the amazing team of counselors that we have in this company with Elite, we are the most updated and the most researched, and we are able to stay at the forefront of college counseling. So shout out to all the Elite directors out there. That's a little bit, I'm not going to share the greatest strengths of me. You guys can go ahead and read that and my pet peeves. But anyway, so the point of this webinar series is to help our families to make sense of what's happened, all to inform you how to prepare. So we want to change this chaos and uncertainty into more action and more clarity. So, I hope you will leave the webinar tonight with a lot more of a positive outlook on the why and the journey to college. Because, when you know better, we do better, right? Okay, so very first topic to discuss is the context of the GPA. Why are we needing to pay more attention to GPA than ever? So these are some of the common questions that I get in a consult. Are colleges putting more emphasis on GPA than ever before? Is it because of the pandemic? Well, yes and no in many ways. But just to begin, I'm going to start with the UCs and the test blind timeline. Let's just go back, rewind the past year and just talk about what's been happening, okay? So in December 2019, so this was prior to the pandemic, a lawsuit was filed by lead counsel Mark Rosenbaum, and he represents a group of students, more underrepresented, underrepresented students, and a collection of advocacy groups. And he declared SAT, ACT requirement is illegal, unconstitutional and discriminatory. And that's the basis of why the lawsuit was filed. As of May 2020, 6 of the 9 campuses went test optional, while only 3, just Berkeley, Santa Cruz, and UCI, absolutely opted out of the requirement of tests. And then cut to August of 2020, Alameda Superior Court judge ruled in favor. So this was August 31st. Ruled in favor of a class action lawsuit that claimed applicants with disabilities were significantly disadvantaged by the test optional, because they don't, so this is more with students with disabilities, learning disabilities, the students that require more than 1 day testing, a special circumstance, larger print, single room, multiple day testing. So these students would not necessarily in a global pandemic be able to do a test optional or submit test scores and even get a second look that their non-disabled students would be afforded in the admissions process. So I hope that kind of explains what that ruling came from. The judge agreed with that ruling, and then in September, well, pretty much September 2020 and on, all 9 campuses are now test blind. So it is not necessarily because of the pandemic in this case. So why the need for all these lawsuits? And you know, there were grumblings of SAT being a racist or discriminatory test since the early 2000 early teens as well. The university, and the main argument for that was that the university should eliminate all reliance on these discriminatory and meaningless tests. And therefore, because it's necessary to fulfill UC's mandate to build a student body that reflects the broad diversity of the state. So let me repeat that. He finds it necessary for the UCs to fulfill its mandate to build a student body that reflects the broad diversity of the state. So this is the lead counsel that filed that lawsuit against the UC. So let me help you make sense of what that looks like. So what is the diversity that he speaks of? So here in this chart, you can see on the left the different race and ethnicity groups: African American, Asian American, Latinx, white, and other. And then the middle column shows you the graduating seniors in California, and then the percentages of that makeup. The last column is, we just chose a campus, UCLA, and its incoming freshmen. Let's see. And as you look at the statistics here, as you look at the percentages, I just want to direct your eyes to these 2 rows. You can see that Asian American make up only 10% of California's graduating seniors. But in UCLA incoming freshmen, it's 43%. And whereas the Latinx group, 47%. Okay, almost 5 times more than Asian Americans, yet they only represent 21% of the incoming freshman class. So this is where they feel it's discriminatory. And let me kind of give another context for you. Asian Americans plus white Americans make up 70%, okay, of 70% of the incoming freshmen at UCLA. While the Latinx group, only 20%, African Americans and other, 10%. Let's look at California's population. If you begin with the first bar chart, you can see that in 1970, more white Americans, that's the orange bar. And only, 3% were Asian or Pacific Islander. Latino population was 13%. Move all the way forward to, fast forward to 2019. 36% is white. 39% is Latino. Asian and Pacific Islander has a steady and slow growth, but none as big as the Latino group. And a lot of the white Americans have actually, I don't know if they've moved out of the state, but it's a lot less. Anyway, so when you see that, it makes up in California, Asian Americans and white Americans are only 51%, and Latinx group is 39%. So it doesn't necessarily represent what the state of California looks like. So I hope this gives you guys a little bit of a context, or the visual, the stats, as to why this lawsuit came about. So what are the effects? When they went test blind, what happened with the UC admissions? So the data actually fresh off the, hot off the press, came out not too long ago, that the number of applications have soared. So I just picked the top 4 campuses on the UCs in which the applications increased by 28% at UCLA, 21 or 27% at Berkeley, UCI 20%, and Santa Barbara 16%. So what that means is that students are no longer, these test scores are no longer preventing the students from applying. We'll get a little bit more into that, what that means, because the websites on each of the UC pages will tell you where the SAT range is, the average SAT range. And a lot of that was deterring many of these students from applying. Now, without the tests, it drives up applications and therefore drives down admission rates. So you can see the statistics of last year versus this year's application admit rates. Sorry, not application rates, admit rates. Berkeley went from 17% to 13%, and engineering is in single digits. UCI from 30% down to 27%, not too big of a difference, but UCS, Santa Barbara and SD have a 31% admit rate now. Gone are the days. I remember when about in the beginning, about 2000, when was the last time I heard this? Around 2010, is somewhere between 2006 and 2010, 11, a lot of students kept telling me, oh, I don't want to apply to UCSB. That's such a party school. Very hard to get into, as competitive as UCSD. So now let's move on to the implications and the effects of the private and out-of-state colleges. That's what OOS stands for, colleges and private schools that are that went test optional. The difference between test optional and test blind is you can submit a test for test optional, and that will be considered as one, but they won't count it against you if you don't submit as one of the criteria, admissions criteria. Test blind, you cannot submit. Even if you submit, they won't even look at it at all. That's not even in the consideration of your application. So the out-of-state and the private colleges have gone test optional. This is due to the pandemic. Shutdowns everywhere, closed test sites. So the explosion of therefore they can't get tests. A lot of colleges felt, hey, listen, it's probably the most fair that a lot of the senior class will not have taken the test. So let's not use that against them. Test optional. Okay. So here also there's an explosion of applicants to the most selective colleges. And this graph has been thrown around in a lot of our internal as well as public webinars because of the sheer, just the craziness of how many applications have increased, the percent increase. At MIT is 62% from applications from 2019 to 2020. 57% increase at Harvard, coming in at number 2. Coming in at number 3, Columbia at 49%, and so on and so forth. So this is for students. So I kind of put like a little bit of a context for you. For a student A, maybe, these are made up students, valedictorian, but I've seen these cases before. Valedictorian of an urban school, 4.1 GPA. GPA seems pretty good. ASB president, but her SAT score is 1180. So maybe slightly not as a competitive school. Perhaps doesn't have as many APs. But look at student B, high performing high school with a 4.3 GPA, some STEM research as their background, and then there's a 1490 in SAT. So this school is probably is driving all of each other's test scores up. Not that they are smarter or better equipped. They just have that much more competition and possibly sometimes that much more outside resources. So they're really pushing the SAT up. One student might be confident with this SAT score, and then the other one isn't. But what the test optional does is sort of really levels the playing field for the student that is valedictorian of school, has, also is ASB president, but happens to have a very low SAT score. I've had students that came in with this type of case. But they end up in this situation. It's a win for them. And I just picked MIT's admission stats here because MIT was #1 most increase in applications. So let's just look at what I mean by, what are students looking at? Look at the distribution of SAT scores in math. If you have a 750 or a 800, that score range had 11,342 applicants. That's a lot, right? But only how many of these were admitted? 1,081. So really, I feel like if I have something below that, or even below, 23 admits at 7 to 740. If I'm below 700, I'm pretty much out of the game. With the evidence-based reading and writing, 750 to 800, that's an 11% admit rate. So about 6,557 applicants, and admitted are 736 with that score, near perfect. Just for the ACT scores, for those of you who are planning on taking ACTs for out of state, 34 to 36 is pretty much you get a 10% admit rate. If you're any lower than that, you're certainly lowering your chances. Okay, so that's just one of the things that we can add to increase our chances. But that's what I was saying when, students look at these charts, they start to see, oh no, I don't want to apply. But this was last year's, you guys. This was the admission statistics from last year when they actually required the test. Now it's test optional, so they probably don't have the statistics for that. But what I'm saying is this is the deterrent. This is the reason why a lot of the students are saying, I can't apply if these are the requirements. It's daunting. It's significantly a deterrent. So without when it became test optional, same thing, explosion of applications made the early round of acceptance rates much lower than ever before. A lot of these are, a few, maybe single-digit percentage points lower, but take a look at Johns Hopkins University. I'm trying to, let's see if I can spotlight this. Here we go. At Johns Hopkins University, right over here, from 28% last year to 19% this year. So you can see what it's doing. There's so many more applicants happening in the early decision and early action rounds or being sent. Okay. All right, anyway, so in short, GPA isn't suddenly the most scrutinized factor for all groups of applicants. So what I mean by that is it always has been one of the main factors of your admissions criteria, right? But it's for not all groups is it equal. So I think for the overrepresented students, it is probably going to be even more scrutinized than ever. So if you're applying to top schools, are we among the top academic performers at my school? This will make more sense after the next section. So are you among the top academic performers in the school? Are you pursuing your interests beyond your school? SAT and ACT, as I just mentioned, helps if you're applying to non-UCs, because it does seem to the admissions officers that it's an opportunity missed to differentiate yourself from the rest of the students in your class. GPA and course strength matters. So 4.2 at a high performing school is not as competitive as a 4.2 as a school with fewer APs. So take more weighted classes. And especially at test blind UCs, you want to make sure you check your course track, extracurricular activities, and your grades to see how you stack up against my peers at your school. So remember those two students, reevaluating how we look at GPA. So I hear parents tell me all the time, oh, so-and-so didn't get in. My friend's son didn't get in. She has a 4.6 GPA and she didn't get into UCLA. What is happening? Sometimes I don't know the backstory. They only tell me the number, right? 4.6 and didn't get into UCLA. There's probably a reason why. Among all of the criteria, the school background, how many APs or honors courses, weighted courses, the strength of it, and of the courses, as well as the extracurriculars that are related to what he or she wants to pursue. There are very many things. I can't just go by the number, and I'll tell you why. So how do these two students' contexts differ? If you look at the admit data here, this is pulled from the UCLA freshman admit data. You can go on that website and you will see it right up front and center in big letters and big colors. Here, the GPA and test scores of the middle 25 to this 75% students. So the middle 50% of the students. Okay, so it ranges from 4.18 all the way to 4.31. And then the ACT composite score is a 31 to 35. So pay attention to this. What is it? 4.18 to 4.31. When the next statistics, this is also on admissions at UCLA in the freshman profile. So this actually kind of breaks down more of what the freshmen actually are made up of. The GPA on the previous page said 4.13, right? Let's go 4.18 to 4.31. And here, lower quartile to the upper quartile, 4.68. That is the 75th percentile. These are all GPAs calculated from the courses completed in 10th and 11th grade. Okay, so notice how the honors courses in this upper 75th percentile have 30. And whereas the honors courses and the lower quartile actually has 19. So there's a big difference between the number of honors and AP courses offered at one school versus offered at the top performing schools. Okay, so if you go into the freshman profile, the statistics are slightly different because then it breaks down for you the uncapped GPA as well. So this was actually shared a couple webinars ago by when we were introducing our new Korean classes. Let's do a little quick GPA calculation breakdown. GPA is your grade point average. We're averaging total grade points. You get A is a 4, 3, B is a 3, et cetera, divided by the total number of semesters. So this is what a typical schedule looks like. There's always a language in there. You know, we're assuming that this person pursues all 4 years of language. This is a semester school. I have a lot of trimester and quarter systems. So this is so much easier to look at. I love this. And then these are highlighted are the AP courses, which you get 1 extra point for, okay, per semester. So here's the GPA. We already did all the calculations for you. We assumed that this student did poorly in AP Lang in the first semester with a C, and mostly A's and B's, yeah? The total GPA is he calculates as 4.31. He or she, it could be, I don't know. It's just a made up student. But a pretty typical schedule, yes? So A's in 9th grade, and A's we just kind of populated 12th grade A's, but, and 10th grade and 11th grade didn't perform as well as he or she did in 9th and 12th grade. But so when we had 207 points, if we counted 9th grade all the way to 12th grade and divided it by 48 semesters, it comes out to a 4.31, which would probably be written in your transcript. However, when we calculate for UCs, it's only 10th and 11th grade, right? Also, honors, you have to check on UC's approved honors and weighted courses to check to see if your school, if the honors English and honors algebra 2, it counts as a UC approved honors. When you actually, even though your school gives it weight, UC will recalculate this and it does not. At which case, when we recalculate this, it ends up going even lower to a 4.19. But remember how I said that we only calculate the UC GPA and they look at the UC GPA? We saw that on the website or the UCLA Admit Student Data page, that it was only grades calculated from 10th through 11th grade. Yes, well now, a student who went from 4.31 on his high school transcript went down to a 4.19 when we took away the non-UC approved honors and AP courses. And then when we recalculated only 10th and 11th grade, it is a 4.05. This is where most of my students and parents, they are devastated or mind blown, right? Because see this and they realize this is the first time I've ever been told this is what happens or this is how GPA is calculated. Okay, so then having seen that, can we go back to our own transcripts and recalculate the GPA? How confident are you that your GPA now stands out? So let's get into section 3. Let me see how I'm doing on time. Pretty okay. All right, 3 ways to boost your GPA. Okay, these are some questions that I get all the time. Which classes should I take? Online AP classes versus college courses, which one's better? I can only take online classes from X because my school won't take it otherwise. More AP classes in the school. Then should I get B's in AP? Is that better than an A? We'll answer these, okay, as we go along. If I don't answer them, then make sure that you remind me to answer them later on the Q&A section. Okay, so option 1. This is more the traditional way, and then I'll show you the unconventional way of boosting your GPA. Community college classes. The pros for community college classes are many. 1 semester is a year of A through G course, right? So you get all that done in 1 semester. It's transferable, right? And you get that weighted GPA. Generally easier than school APs, plus there's no exam at the end. And finally, there are so many classes that you can choose from. Of course, we have to check with what is transferable in for general ed. However, but it helps us to show subject interest. In other words, if I'm interested in marketing or business, how can I show that I have interest in advertising or social media marketing, and et cetera, with the classes that we have at school? We don't really have that access at a public high school. So sometimes community college classes can show that I have a deeper interest in business. So if you see a student that majors in business and a student that majors in biology sometimes, and typically the students that are the most high performing in that school, regardless of what they're interested in or major, their classes are identical. So this is a way that you could showcase, oh, I have further interest in just opening up my my horizons on all things business. But the cons oftentimes is getting classes at the time or days that you want is difficult because the high school students are lowest on their registration priority. So I even looked it up on Palomar, and they had tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, and tier 8 is high school students. Yeah. So that for a busy high school student would be difficult. The other thing is the independence, the level of independence and the level of pacing and studying requires a higher level of independence and motivation, because oftentimes the students aren't told exactly, or they're not necessarily told what to do step by step, given a guide sheet. The teachers aren't as hand-holding. So oftentimes my students, if they're not highly motivated, they will fall off, the schedule, because regular school, their high school is already keeping them busy. Option 2, we have online high school classes. So the greatest thing about this is there's no need to take up space in my school schedule. Oh, yes, then I can do online US history, and then I can put another AP in my schedule. That's what a lot of my students do. So that's great. Here are some options. There are many more, but I'm offering you some options, and they range anywhere from $300 a class to like $900 a class. So UC Scout, there's Brigham Young University Independent Study, online high school, such a mouthful, BYU Online. And then there's Apex Learning Virtual School, Accelerate Online Academy. So there are more. You can certainly search, but these are the top 4 that my students always come in and tell me about. And then I just wanted to kind of show you a warning. Independent study really is hard on most students. So I always have students, parents come in here and start to shame their children in front of me and say, oh, you can't. I don't know. I just feel it's more common that students struggle with just deadlines and just being absolutely independent, because without the guidance, students procrastinate, putting off assignments and endangering their grade. So this happens more often than it doesn't. So I just want to let you guys all know that I see more students that do poorly at online high school classes because they just let things slide. Okay. And you guys, some online courses, some online curriculum, for example, UC Scout, is not necessarily all that easy. You can't think online high school equals easy course. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. So now I get into the title of today's webinar, Unconventional Ways to Boost GPA at Elite. Here are 3 ways. 1, we also have college classes for credit. 2, AP classes for credit. And then new Korean language classes for credit. All of these you can boost your GPA with, because they're all honors classes. With the Korean classes, there are some honors, but not all. Okay. Now, all powered by Elite Open School, partnering with any Elite Prep location near you. Okay. And all of them are WASC accredited, and our courses are also Cognia accredited. So with the college classes, the wonderful thing that we provide is the transcripts from an accredited universities are partnered with our Elite Open School. Okay, our WASC accredited, Cognia accredited school that partners with every branch. We offer 24 courses that you can choose from. And 1 semester is equivalent to a full year of AP. So short amount of work, right? Only short period of time. It's consistent in that you have all these offerings that you don't have to kind of vie for that time, or that date or time, or the day or time slot. And you're fighting with all the upperclassmen or the students that are actually trying to transfer, etc. So here it's flexible in that you can fit it to your schedule, especially if you're busy. This is perfect for busy students. What is key here is that students are supported by our mentoring staff and their on-site mentors and their instructors. So we never let them alone. Maybe it's not a great thing for some students, but for most students, that they appreciate this guidance, and therefore it helps them solidify an A. That accountability, we have our eyes on them with a safe enough distance, so we're not really hovering over you. But, and last but not least, there's even an opportunity to earn an associate's degree. 2, we have 18 College Board AP courses to offer you. Great for GPA boost over the summer. At our branch, we have at least 3 AP courses that we offer in the summer. Especially for juniors, since senior year grades don't always count. So you can actually put these classes and load them up in the summer as a last chance effort to boost up your GPA. Just like our college courses for credit, this is also supported by the instructor, on-site mentors, everybody, all the staff at Elite, so that they can really solidify that A. To boot, you have participation points, and it's really helped a lot of our students solidify that A. Okay, so we make it a lot easier for you guys to receive A's here. Okay, and because, yes, sometimes parents will ask, well, why the huge tuition difference? Because it's almost like a service that we are providing on top of making sure that the students are supported, making sure that the students' questions get answered, making sure that the students are on task and on week by week on schedule. So that is the accountability that we provide, along with continuous advising about college, which classes to take, etc. It ranges from 10 to 20 weeks per semester. It's up to you. There's a lot of students that can even finish some classes within 8 to 10 weeks. Some students like to take their time and go all the way to 18 weeks. Okay. And finally, this new offering, Korean language courses. So fulfill your foreign language outside of school. What does that mean for a lot of students? It means an empty space in their, if you do it outside of school, then you have an empty space where their language would have been in their schedule. The other thing is lately, K-pop, K-drama, it's everywhere in culture. I know so many people, non-Koreans, who have asked, I want to take Korean class because I want to know, it'd be nice to know what I'm seeing, what I'm listening to. And you know what else? Colleges would probably look at that as, oh, he not only talks about his love for K-pop or K-drama and all things Korean culture, he actually took a Korean language course outside of school, and it kind of lines up with that interest, deepens that, from it being just a hobby to actual learning about the culture. So yes, it opens up this space in your school. Once you get to Korean level 5 and 6, you even can get honors. It's UC approved honors weighted GPA. Okay, so again, this is also supported by the instructors on site, as well as, I don't think that it takes more than 10 to 20 weeks. That was actually left over from the slide before. So let me show you that last slide that we went over. Remember the typical UC schedule, or the typical student schedule with the UC GPA. We just highlighted the middle, 10th and 11th grade. And you see how honors chemistry, honors pre-calc, AP Lang, AP Bio, and AP Euro are the ones that were highlighted because they were the honors points. Okay. Even with that, the GPA was at 4.05. Now, let's look at if we insert Korean. If we got rid of Korean and took it online, or not online, sorry, with us at Elite Open School, you have Korean on top of, oh, maybe I want to put AP Computer Science. This kid maybe wants to do computer science as a major, because so he or she is stuck in AP Computer Science in 10th grade, and then followed up with the next level of a computer science class at their high school with AP Computer Science A. Okay, so then you have 2 more AP courses to boost your GPA, therefore bringing it up from a 4.05 to a 4.33. Now, imagine if you took Korean before high school. So you started with Korean, maybe 1 or 2 was in middle school, and 3, 4, 5, you had the 5 in there, you would actually be able to, if you yank it forward, you would be able to have Korean 5 as another honors class, and then boost the GPA even more. So there are so many, options of how to boost your GPA. we can talk about this, or how to schedule your students so that they can get that Korean honors boost even in after you do a diagnostic test. So you can contact your local elite prep location and get that answered. Okay. So to sum up, I think we're doing pretty good on time. Yes, sometimes I talk way too fast. And sometimes, well, today I think I timed it just right. All right, to sum up, COVID-related shutdowns have pushed colleges to go test optional. So some of it is pandemic related. So both test optional and test blind schools saw a huge influx of applicants and without test scores. And now that College Board got rid of the SAT subject tests, there's no other real way to easily kind of start to give points if there were points or a rank or kind of evaluate the student. So GPA and the courses that you take will become magnified. And remember, the courses that you take, particularly if you want to show subject interest or major interest, you want to really put more classes. Like, for example, if we took APs in the summer here, we have options of AP Econ, AP Micro and Macro Econ. We have AP Psychology, because you need a lot of psychology for marketing and communications, as well as advertising. And you can take maybe AP Statistics here. So there are a lot of things that you can add, and it will show the admissions officers that you have a much more focused, right, business application. So the GPA and classes are magnified, and we need to really reevaluate our GPA, be realistic and vigilant. What I mean by that is understand what your GPA actually is and where you stand in your school, because you are not measured with another person in a completely different school at a completely different school district across the United States. No, it's the peers at your school. Where do you stand? And then be vigilant, meaning go seek courses that will make sense to your major. Seek honors and more weighted courses. And I gave you the options already. Call your local elite prep counselor to find out how you can specifically boost your GPA, because everybody is slightly different. Okay. And so thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and start looking at, I'm scared to look, looking at the Q&A box to see how much I can answer in this time. Okay, let's see. The very first, well, should I go in order? Okay, so Shivraj asks, does taking AP exams boost the GPA? Which means, will more number of APs mean a higher GPA provided the result was good? Okay, so the AP exam is a different thing than the GPA. AP exam, of course, it looks so much better if you have a 4 and a 5 versus a 2 or a 3. Yes? And so it just shows subject mastery. So you really do want to focus and pay attention to studying for your APs and making sure that it is, higher than passing, or passing or higher. The higher the number, the better, right? Closer to the 5, the better. Now, that doesn't factor into the GPA. It's a different story, but it does add a lot of value. It's value added. It's going to look so much better if you have a mastery of that subject rather than just a passing knowledge of that subject. Okay. The type of AP exam matter, taking it as part of school or taking it through self-study. Taking it through self-study could be pretty impressive. There are a lot of students who self-study. I know that a lot of students self-study. I've had students do AP psychology. Gosh, there are only few that are even worth studying on your own. A lot of them are very difficult without a class or a teacher. Okay, do courses taken at community college in 9th grade summer count for UC GPA calculation? Yes. Yes, it does. I'm wondering if you mean ninth grade summer, the summer after ninth grade, or possibly, yeah, if it's the, yeah. So yes, it does count for, or sorry, you see, does it's ninth grade summer. So ninth grade summer, ninth grade summer would be 10th grade grades. So yes, okay. And let's go on to, for admissions to UC, would they total GPAs of 12th grade as well? No, UCs do not look at the 12th grade GPA. They've already sort of made their decision before your 12th grade GPA comes in. They do take a look at all the courses that you take in senior year as well. My school won't add community college. Oh, this is a good question. Everybody asks this question. My school won't add community college GPA to the transcript. Do you think colleges will calculate it on their end? Very big yes. Do not worry. If even our courses, they're not approved by our local schools, but our students take our courses because our transcripts go directly to the schools, and UCs or other private universities and out-of-state colleges will take both those transcripts and then calculate that into their GPA. Yes. So good question. See, do you recommend online high school classes to be taken after ninth grade? Your AP classes, all your AP classes, I'm sorry. Do I recommend online high school classes? I think online high school classes can be taken anytime. But if you want that to count into your GPA, is that what you're saying? Your online high school classes can be taken after ninth grade. I usually recommend certain classes, for example, that are not necessarily, I mean, I have kids take APs in ninth grade, like AP computer science in ninth grade, so that they can take AP computer science A, their 10th or 11th grade early on, and those APs count. Yes, the summer AP psychology class. Does summer AP psychology class equal to 1 year AP class? Yes, it does. It's usually one semester. Some of these quarter systems and trimester systems that particularly the quarter systems in our district, they count it as one term even. So yeah, it's the same. Can an A in summer AP elite class replace a lower grade? No, that has to be approved from your school. So if we're not, they can recalculate that score at the university level, but at your school that it doesn't erase. That has to be, it doesn't, how do I say it? It doesn't get transferred into your application. I think the UCs do recalculate that though. Do we offer honors courses as well through Elite Open School? Yes, we do. We have many honors and UC approved honors classes. We also have, as I mentioned, the Korean classes, Korean level 5 and 6 are also considered honors. So let's see, will summer 12 weeks AP class add 1 or 2 points in UC GPA calculations? So that counts as, it depends on the semester. If it's a 2-semester class, we have APCS, so AP Computer Science Principles in the summer. That counts as 2 semesters of a 5.0. Whereas our AP Psychology class is only 1 semester course and it will only count as 1 5.0 GPA. So it depends on how many semesters. Let's see. I think I have time to take maybe about 2 more questions. Are AP classes taken at Elite equivalent to those taken at my child's high school? Yes. They're all WASC approved, UC approved courses. Absolutely. And the colleges will weigh them the same. So that question was AP at my school. Is that equivalent to the APs taken at Elite? Will the colleges count them the same or weight them the same? And that was my answer. I wasn't sure if I actually read the question out to you. So If you, let's see. One person is asking so many questions. I'm trying not to answer all of this one person's questions. So if you have a lot more than one, more than 3 questions, please schedule an appointment with your local elite director. I'm going to try to get to as many different attendees as possible. Class taken after 9th grade summer counts towards 10th grade. Okay, class taken after 9th grade, the summer after 9th grade counts as 10th grade. Let's see. What if you're planning to take many weighted classes in 12th grade? Do those not count at all towards your GPA? Not for the UCs. It will count the first semester. They will take that into consideration at a lot of out-of-state universities or private universities. So what if you're planning to take many weighted classes in 12th grade? Do those count? Again, not at the UCs, but towards more private and out-of-state colleges. Does a student need pre-approval? Does student need pre-approval from the high school's counselor to take an AP class at Elite? You do not, because we actually do provide it. We're not providing the transcripts so that your school can incorporate them into your school's GPA. So they won't be transferred into your high school GPA. They will, through Parchment, Elite Open School will send upon your request, we'll send your transcript to the universities that you are applying to. So that is at your request. We will send that transcript to the university, and the university will calculate that. Do taking courses after summer of 11th grade count towards your GPA? Funnily enough, you remember how I said after your 9th grade, or after it counts as the grade above it? They all allow all the way up until the summer of 11th grade to count in your GPA at the UCs. Good news. So if you have done everything that you could at your high school and you want to take summer classes at Elite, you can cram as many AP classes or college classes for credit at Elite as you can possibly handle. Load it up if you need. Let's see. Last question. How about, oh my gosh, there's so many. Do you recommend college honors class? Question about our AP Computer Science classes. AP Computer Science A usually takes 2 semesters. Is your AP Computer Science A taken during summer equivalent to 2 semesters? Yes, it is. So AP Computer Science A at your school and AP Computer Science A here, they're equivalent. They count as 2 semesters. Last question. I said that last time. I think I said that 2 times ago. Let's see. Know your AP classes. Okay, so will AP summer classes count towards high school GPA for ranking, valedictorian, etc.? I'm sorry, unfortunately, it won't. It does not. Because the school does not necessarily acknowledge and won't integrate that into your transcript. Okay, I think that's it for me. And there are so many more questions that I did not get to, but we have a whole list of them, and we will be sending them to your local branches so that they can reach out to you, or vice versa. You can reach out to them at any time. I am so thankful that you all were curious and joined us tonight. I appreciate, I'm grateful. It's Jennifer O signing off.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for that incredibly helpful information. I know that students and parents have a much better idea of their options for this summer right now. So as Ms. O mentioned, we've got a variety of extremely exciting programs for students We talked mostly about high school tonight, but for students in grades 5 through 12 this summer, starting in June, and we've got both online and in-person options available at all of our elite branches. Jennifer talked about our AP courses for credit, our dual credit college courses, and Korean language courses. If you want to sign your student up for summer school at Elite, we've got a whole bunch of classes to help students raise their GPA significantly and add a great, rigorous, impressive class to their transcript. If your student is looking to add some impressive extracurricular experience, some great activities that they can brag about on their college applications, we've got an amazing selection of fun and exciting extracurricular programs and workshops happening this summer. I think we've got more than 15 programs to choose from, extracurricular programs. Those are all happening online, available to students everywhere. Just go to eliteprep.com to find out more. If you're planning to apply to any test optional or test required schools, basically anywhere in addition to University of California, and you want to build up an excellent SAT or ACT score, we are, of course, offering our legendary summer boot camps, summer SAT boot camp, both online and in person this summer. So contact your local Elite Prep branch to set up a diagnostic test and consultation right now. Just do it right now. Or you can also do that on our website. Just go to your branch webpage. There's a button on top and you can schedule a virtual diagnostic test. If you are looking for help getting through this confusing time of college admissions, we are here for you. We have everything you need to get into the college of your dreams. Whether you're in grade 6 or you're in grade 11, the time to start your college prep is right now. So contact us, set up a free diagnostic test and consultation. We would absolutely love to help this summer. All right, that is all the time we have for today's webinar. Thank you again, Ms. Jennifer O, for your wonderful insights and for guiding us through everything. And thanks again, everyone. Stay safe, and we will see you next week.